Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Indoco Remedies Q4 FY21 earnings conference call hosted by Centrum Broking Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Ms. Cinderella Thomas from Centrum Broking. Thank you and over to you, ma'am.
Thanks, Steve. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining the Indoco Remedies Q4 earnings call. I hope and wish that all of you are well and safe amid this pandemic times. At the outset, I thank the management of Indoco Remedies for giving us this opportunity to host the call. Today, from the management team, we have with us Managing Director, Ms. Aditi Panandkar, Joint Managing Director, Mr. Sandeep Bambolkar, Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Mandar Borkar, Corporate Affairs and M&A, Mr. Vilas Nagre. With this, I hand over the call to management for the opening remarks.
Thank you, Cinderella. Good afternoon, all the participants. Hope you and your family members are all safe and healthy. Let me first begin with the business highlights. The net revenues for the company grew by 12% year-on-year. For the year ended March 21, revenues grew by 12.8% at rupees 1,217 crore as against rupees 1,079 crore last year. EBITDA to net sales for the quarter is 18.5% at rupees 54.6 crore compared to 12.7% at rupees 33.3 crore. And for the year ended March 21, the EBITDA is 18.4% at rupees 223.6 crores compared to 11.4% at rupees 123.3 crore. PAT to net sales for the quarter is 8.4% at rupees 24.9 crore compared to 2.1% at rupees 5.4 crore. And for the year ended March 21, the PAT is 7.6% at rupees 92.4 crore compared to 2.2% at rupees 24.2 crore. Now on the Indian pharma industry. As per the AWACS data, the IPM is showing signs of recovery and has registered a sale of rupees 38,253 crore with a growth of 5.3% in the fourth quarter. During the quarter, Indoco has registered a sale of rupees 231 crore, degrowing by 1.6%. The company is ranked 29th in the IPM with market share of 0.61% as on 31st March. SMSRC bi-monthly RX prescription data for Jan to Feb 21 has shown recovery in terms of overall prescription generation for IPM with prescription degrowth of 4% over last year, Jan-Feb 20. Indoco reflects prescription degrowth of 20% during Jan to Feb 21 with prescription share of 0.73%. The source here is SMSRC prescription data. Domestic formulation business. Revenues from domestic formulation business degrew by 13% year-on-year. For the year ended March 21, revenues degrew by 9.8% at rupees 619 crore as against rupees 686 crore last year. During the quarter, dapagliflozin 5 and 10 mg tablets under the brand name Depaja were launched. The tally of new products and SKUs launched for the year stands at 9. Now on the international business front, revenues from international business posted a robust growth of 65.7% year-on-year. For the year ended March 21, Revenues grew by 66.2% at rupees 492 crore as against rupees 296 crore last year. Revenues from regulated markets grew by 75.3% year-on-year. For the year ended March 21, the revenues grew by 83.8% at rupees 400 crore as against rupees 217 crore last year. Revenues from US business for the quarter grew by 23.5% at rupees 33 crore as against rupees 27 crore for the same quarter last year. Brinzolamide suspension was launched in the US in March 21 in partnership with Teva as the first generic. For the year ended March 21, the US revenues grew by 162.3% at rupees 148 crore as against rupees 56 crore last year. Revenues from Europe for the quarter grew by 120% at rupees 69 crore as against rupees 31 crore for the same quarter last year. For the year ended March 21, the revenues grew by 55.5% at rupees 239 crore as against rupees 154 crore. Revenues from South Africa, Australia, New Zealand for the quarter are at 2.5 crore as against 1.6 crore. For the year, the revenues are at 12.2 crore as against 7 crore. Revenues from emerging markets for the quarter grew by 36.4% at rupees 27 crore as against 20 crore for the same quarter last year. For the year ended March 21, the revenues grew by 17.5% at rupees 92 crore as against rupees 79 crore. Revenues from API business degrew by 1.6% year-on-year. For the year ended March 21, the revenues grew by 9.3% at rupees 94 crore against 86 crore. Revenues from CRO and analytical services for the quarter grew by 13% at rupees 3.8 crore against rupees 3.4 crore. For the year, the revenues grew by 10.9% at rupees 12 crore against rupees 10.9 crore last year. That is all about the business highlights for the fourth quarter, and I now request the participants to put up their questions. Be safe, be healthy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Aditya Khemka from InCred Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the opportunity. Aditi ma'am, can you split the growth in the degrowth in the India business into acute and chronic sales?
Yeah. So Aditya, it is the entire degrowth is attributed only to 2 categories, that too in acute. One is anti-infectives and the second is respiratory. So if you had heard me in the earlier calls, for much of the year, most of the acute segments were degrowing, but by Q4, we made up in GI, which is Cyclopharm leading the way, one of the main brands. However, Febrex Plus in respiratory and Oxipod in anti-infectives are largely responsible for pulling the growth down. Their categories have also heavily degrown for the pharmaceutical industry.
Sure. Appreciate that. So has the chronic brand or the semi-chronic brands, have they actually registered growth in the same time frame? In the last 12 months or in the last 3 months?
Yeah. Chronic in particular, there is a marginal growth. Subchronic, mostly dental has done decently all right. However, the base is too small. So when 2 of the largest brands degrow very heavily, but Q4 compared to the earlier quarters, I have to say overall growths in domestic have been little muted. So India business suffered highly this year, and typically field force is motivated to go after their targets when they can achieve incentives. So what you saw in Q4 was largely led by an unfavorable environment in business and possibly a demoralized field force. So that is a cumulative effect of that, nothing else.
Understood. And on the export side, on brinzolamide, so we launched it in March, but could you give us some sense of whatever we shipped in March? Was that like a 1 month inventory for our customer, or was that like a 6-month inventory for our customer? I mean, what kind of volumes we would have shipped in March?
Yeah, Aditya, they wanted a critical mass in their warehouse before they could launch the product. So I suppose this is about 3 to 4 months inventory which we have shipped.
Right. And you wouldn't have got the profit share. So this is the revenue that you are reporting is basically your cost of goods plus the manufacturing margin.
Correct. Right now, that's where we are.
Right. So going forward, as brinzolamide sales pick up, as in Teva's sales pick up, you will start receiving profit share from them as well. Is that the correct understanding?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. That's it from me. I'll get back in the queue if I have more questions. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to the participants, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. Should you have any follow-up, may we request you to rejoin the queue. The next question is from the line of Sudarshan Padmanabhan from Sundaram Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Thank you for taking my question and congrats on a great year. My question is, I think, the last few quarters has been very good for us in terms of, business doing well across the board. But on the cash flow, while, if you look at the cash flow prior to working capital, we have, generated about 240 crores, but a fair amount of leakage is seen across. One is the other current assets, where almost about, we have, seen about 35-40 crores. Inventory, has not seen much impact, but receivables, other current assets, and I think we have basically been a little bit more, the payables has been unfavorable in the sense, that's basically moved up to the extent of about 50 crores. So can you explain a little bit more on what's happening on the working capital?
Yeah, sure. See, our payables had partly suffered in previous years because of the cash flow issues we had after the MHRA and FDA problems. Those got sorted out in the last 12 months. The cash flows have been very solid, and as a result, we had to make up for our payables, which were lagging behind. And today, I'm happy to report to you that all the payables are almost online. We had to do that because otherwise we would not have got good rates going forward for the purchases. And the confidence in the marketplace had to be built up. So that's the reason. In spite of that, you will be more happy to note that short-term borrowings are still pegged around 120 crores, which shows very solid cash inflow, both from domestic business as well as international.
So then this inventory days have been brought down from 79 to 71 days. Receivables have been brought down from 84 to 70 days. So there is a marked improvement in working capital management.
And
there is this other current assets that has moved up. So any specific, reason for that?
Yeah. See, about that, before that, I will tell you about the creditors also. If you see, all our major projects, capital projects, have virtually been completed. So in the previous period, there have been creditors due on account of project capital expenditure. That has substantially come down. So that's the reduction also we are witnessing. Trade receivable, naturally in line with the export business growth. The credit period in the export vis-a-vis the credit period in domestic, there is always a difference. So that is one important aspect. And specific question on the other current assets and all is more towards as we are building up the inventory for the other, then there are GST related some dues. So that has also led to this inflation. Because overall, if you see, the top line growth is happening because we are comparing with the last year base. So that's the major.
I would assume that as we move forward, I mean, your working capital will rationalize and the cash generation will, come back pretty strongly.
Perfect. In the new year, that is the year which is going on, we are slated to generate about 300 crore cash.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This is free cash you're talking about or cash from operations?
Cash from operations.
Sure. And my second question is, taking cues from your earlier commentary on the domestic side. When I understand that fourth quarter has been bad, but if I look at probably the last month, we've seen a major spike as far as growth is concerned. Can you give some color with respect to, are we also seeing a growth in line with what the AIOCD is, kind of showing? And second is, what's really happening on the ground? I mean, given that we are seeing extended lockdowns across several states, do you think that the sales force continues to remain a bit demotivated, or any specific plans that we have to kind of improve the productivity and improve the sales?
Yeah, so Sudarshan, as you said yourself, AWACS numbers for April are already out, and you must have seen that the industry has grown by over 50%. Indoco 2, if you saw in AWACS, has shown a growth of in excess of 75%. And this is pretty close to the real picture. This growth is partly coming on the base of a low level April sale of last year. And unlike the first wave of COVID, when entire acute basket did very badly, this time around, because there was no complete lockdown across the country and there were essential services and many other people are working, also because unlike the first wave, the doctors are practicing. So what you're seeing is that the other acute segments are not hammered this time around. So there is a double impact on growth, one on a low base and second on an actual growth coming in. As you must be hearing now, pre and post-COVID, there is a much better understanding of disease, its treatment, and one is seeing several upper respiratory tract infections, antihistaminic use of antihistamines, use of anticoagulants, steroids, which are required to be done pre and post-COVID also. So the entire basket is moving, and that is responsible for the growth that you've seen for April in AWACS. Happy to share that Indoco 2 is seeing similar growth. Your second part of question about lockdown and is it impacting? When the first lockdown happened, there were very few companies in India which had already established a digital means of reaching out to customers. Companies like Indoco were quite nascent for this, and I'm happy that we have got enough time to prepare in the interim. So today, even if the field is not able to move as freely as they would like to, they are still able to make A, doctor calls, and B, they are able to connect and stay engaged with the customers through digital means. So this time around, we are not seeing that big an impact.
Sure, ma'am. And one final thing before I log off is, join back the queue is, we also have the FabiFlu. I mean, the COVID portfolio how would the growth be if we are basically removing the COVID? I mean, is the growth holistic or is it, kind of colored by COVID? Are we seeing an excess growth because of the COVID portfolio?
Yeah. So segments like ophthalm, dental, where typically the doctors are not practicing because of the risk to themselves, those are seeing a bit of an impact even now, as in they are not growing as much as the others. But other than those therapies, and what I'm hearing from the industry, Indoco is not big on CNS, but psychiatric treatment, CNS is moving very well. Like I said, antibiotics, respiratory is also doing well this time around. And per se, other than chronic, of course, is doing all right. And in fact, there is seems to be a good consumption of medicines of all kinds. I'm wondering if people are sort of stocking up at home as well. So there is, I'm not seeing too much impact on too many segments. Like I said, ophthalm, dental maybe, because they are directly related to two branches where a lot of surgical intervention happens. And that probably is getting postponed.
And Favipiravir should also be, adding to our portfolio, right?
Yeah, it is, it's not very big for Indoco, but still doing exceedingly well.
Thanks a lot, ma'am, and John, back to you.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rashmi Sancheti from InCred Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Just to follow up from earlier participant, ma'am, could you explain that, which of your top brands are basically co-prescribed for the COVID treatment now? Where we can see that, some kind of ramp up in the coming quarters.
Yeah. So Rashmi, we have typically for COVID, we have a basket used in prevention. We have a basket used for treatment, and then we have a basket of products which are used post-COVID for any other infection. So it's quite broad, but roughly to talk of the key brands, we have ATM, which is an azithromycin brand, and it is the third highest growing brand right now in azithromycin segment for the industry. And today it is the largest brand for us as a consequence of that. Other than that, we have Carvol Plus, which is used as a nasal decongestant and which is moving very well, is used in steam inhalation for prevention. We have got Rexidin mouthwash with Warren, our dental division, which is a mouthwash used for killing germs in the oral cavity. That is doing well. We also launched two other ancillary products in our COVID basket. One is a mouth gargle called Poviclean, which is gradually taking shape, and a zinc with vitamin C and D, Zimun CD, which is a higher end zinc vitamin C combination, which is at a nascent stage, I would say, in launch. Besides this, we have got Favipiravir, of course, which is used for treatment. Also, other antibiotics like Oxipod, which is a cefpodoxime used in upper respiratory tract infection, cough preparations like Tuspel Plus, and vitamin D3 combinations, which we have, like OHD3, which is also very small. But we do have a good size basket of products used along with pre and post COVID, and they are all doing well.
Okay. And ma'am, we have done around 9 product launches in India. So, what kind of run rate we should expect in FY22, after seeing a good recovery in the India market?
So, in this phase, we, other than dapagliflozin and dapagliflozin combination and alogliptin combination, because they are key products for us, most of the products have been in the COVID basket that have been launched. And after 2023, typically we do a new product launch of around 3 to 4 products per division. So we should be able to do that, around 20 products in a year.
20 products is something the annual run rate we can expect for next 1 or 2 years.
Yes.
Okay. And lastly, on the raw material cost, are we seeing any sort of impact due to the high raw material prices or anything, which would impact the gross margin, or it would more or less remain at the same level?
I don't think it will be that substantial that it will impact the margins, because on the international business front, we have covered our costs. And as far as the domestic is concerned, we expect things to get ironed out within 2 to 3 months from today.
Okay. So any guidance on the gross margin front which you are giving?
We should be able to work at these margins. Because our business mix is evolving, Rashmi. So if you observe this year itself in international business, it is moved from the pure contract manufacturing for Europe more towards supply to US. And even for domestic, as the profit, as the per person return increases, the product mix is also getting better. So I do not think that the increase in RM prices will directly impact our gross margins too much.
Okay. And one last question on debt. Our long-term borrowings are more or less at the same levels versus last year. are we going to see any kind of repayment in FY22, or it would remain at the same level? I mean, I understand that for our working capital needs, our short-term borrowing can inch up, but if you can give some guidance on long-term borrowing.
Yeah, long-term borrowings compared to March 19 and March 21, we have repaid 40 crores long-term borrowings. And today we stand at 141 crores. And by September, this figure should go down to 128 crores.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That is very helpful. I have more questions. I'll join back in this.
Okay.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Deepan Shankara Narayanan from Trustline PMS. Please go ahead.
Thanks a lot for the opportunity. Firstly, would like to understand from you what will be your guidance for full year next year overall and for US and European markets?
So domestic is because it's coming off a very difficult year. And of course, today one has to predict based on how the situation will be. But considering a decent amount of normalization in the business environment, domestic is targeting to do in excess of around 850 CR in top line.
Okay.
US should do close to 250 crores, and Europe is expected to do around 300.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Thanks a lot. And lastly, any update on this court case ban removal on Apixaban application?
Sorry, the court case in India? No. So an application has been made. We eagerly await a hearing.
Okay. So no settlements in for US market also, right?
No.
Okay. Thanks a lot and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abdul Puranwala from Anand Rathi. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. So one question on the US business. As mentioned with one of the participants earlier, when we expect the profit share from the US brinzolamide sales to come down in the next few quarters, I mean, had it been that we would have gotten this quarter, would that be a substantial increase on the gross margin?
If it had come in March quarter, yes, it would have made a difference, definitely. But we shipped in March, so the question doesn't arise. So definitely when we declare June quarter results, you will hear something about it.
All right. And yeah, thanks for that. And my second question was on the other expenses. So when we are talking about the India business, to how stable it in the growth for maybe in the next quarter, and from there, how do we see the promotional expenditure? So typically, I mean, for our set of products, I mean, typically when does the MR start pushing those products in the market? And when, as compared to last year, would there be any substantial increase in the promotional expenditure what we have seen in FY21?
So this year, actually, if you look at the numbers, there is a quarter-to-quarter change in how much has been spent. So we had been showing a steady increase in sales and promotion expenses up to Q3. And then because of the lockdown, again in Q4, it has come down a bit. But yes, compared to this year, next year, there will be a marginal increase once the lockdown phase is over. And it is very much required for India business to grow. Right? So you might have heard from one of the earlier questions, right now there is a spurt in the COVID basket. That is a kind of a demand created because of environmental conditions. But other than that, to maintain and grow the other segments of business, certainly some amount of sales and promotion expense increase will happen. But the increase in top line will more than offset, so it is not going to impact margin really.
Sure, ma'am. And would you like to provide some sort of guidance on an EBITDA level for FY22?
So EBITDA is a sensitive topic, right, for us, because from close to 11.5% last year, every quarter we were doing in excess of 18, and I kept saying that remaining of the next quarter will be less than that, and looks like we still did 18.5. So we'll definitely better this. Okay?
Sure, ma'am. Thank you for answering.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sachin Kasera from Swan Investments. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody, and congrats to the management for a good set of numbers this year. I had 2-3 questions. One was just wanted to clarify regarding this domestic. You mentioned a figure of 850 crores or 750 crores?
850.
That looks quite aggressive, even if you adjust for, a base of FY20. You are looking at more like a 15-17% CAGR. Earlier, we used to grow at 12-13%. So if you could give us some sense what is giving this type of optimism.
Yeah, because this year in lockdown has been a huge year of learning, and we are seeing that kind of upside for many of the product categories that we are in. Other than that, for the organization, basically this year, if you looked at our performance, our 3 of our top 4 segments were hammered, and we are already seeing in the first quarter good signs of recovery and growth. So I feel pretty confident to be very close. This is a target taken, but I feel pretty confident to get close to that number.
Sure. And second question was on the margins. You mentioned you will better this year, but considering the fact that you also mentioned that your international business now is become profitable, and now that this year will have the benefit of profit share also from the Benzolomide, can we look at a significant improvement in EBITDA margins, madam?
Yes. I think because we are yet to fully understand how and when these margins will start flowing back to us. So we have not actually pegged them to come in at a particular quarter or not. So this is steady state operations, but we will do in excess of 19% EBITDA for sure.
Okay. And on the US, madam, how many products you plan to file and launch this year?
This year we are trying to file 5 to 6 products.
And any sense of, and the number of launches, any idea?
Number of launches will be also equal number, 5 around 5 or so.
And just one last data question on the capex, madam. This year and next year, have you finalized the capex plans?
Yes. We'll be close to 80 crores this year, and next year also should be a similar number.
Okay. Thank you very much, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to the participants. If you wish to ask a question, you may press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. The next question is from the line of Charulata Gaidani from Dalal & Broacha. Please go ahead.
Yeah. My question pertains to US. There is a sequential degrowth. So if you could throw some light on why the degrowth. And secondly, in terms of repeat orders from US, how are they moving and how you expect to grow going forward?
Yeah, so Charulata, as of now, the way products are taken on campaign basis and the way we book these sales is that unlike India business, you don't have like a running product mix quarter on quarter. So if this quarter 80 or 90% of the top line has come from Benzolomide, the earlier quarter it would be from another set of products. So that is one thing. Also the business mix. Sometimes milestones come in at a particular time in a quarter and then they don't come in the immediate next quarter. It is just that, nothing else. Yeah?
Yeah, okay. And about repeat orders?
Yeah, we have plenty of repeat orders. US business is going to be very bullish for Indoco. I don't want to spell out the numbers at this stage, but the order book is very, very firm.
Okay. So, so far, I think there are 11 products in the market now.
10 to 11. Yeah. Yes, correct.
Yeah. So how many products have you started getting repeat orders?
At least 6 to 7 products.
Okay. Okay. Right. And in terms of India business, how much is the percentage of COVID, contribution of COVID to India sales?
It is not that substantial, Charulata, because the only two big brands that are contributing to the COVID basket until now, as until the Q4, are ATM and Karvol Plus. Our Favipiravir was launched after the first wave. So till Q4, it has not seen a significant number. However, in this quarter, that is the running quarter, it is doing well. So we'll just wait and see how things move. Too early right now. Yeah? But as such, we have a very de-risked India business. So the COVID basket, by way of contribution to the whole India business, is not too big.
Okay.
In fact, Charulata, during this quarter, the COVID-related products have not done as well as last quarter the same year. Last year, the same quarter.
Okay. Okay. And I missed out on, you called out a number of prescription degrowth in the domestic.
Yeah, I just checked that number after that was said. So the entire industry is degrowing still on prescriptions. And what SMSRC does is they give a relative degrowth. Okay. So Indoco is relatively degrowing by 8% looking at the entire industry. This is what it means, that -20 is a absolute number. What they mean is 80% of the prescriptions for the industry are coming back. That's what it means. Yeah?
Okay. Okay. So in terms of doctor prescriptions, are you seeing the growth now compared to?
Yeah. So like I said, compared to the first wave, this time around doctors are actually, attending clinics. Patient footfall is a little limited on physical side, but there are a lot of and other consults going on. But at least the early signs of April and May show that there is consumption of medicine happening, largely on account of people wanting to buy COVID and COVID-related therapies and otherwise chronic and subchronic basket based on need.
Okay. And in terms of paracetamol, are you seeing the raw mat cost increase?
Yes, of course, like any other company, but we have passed on the cost increase to our front-end partners.
Okay, fine. Yeah, thank you. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time. The next question is from the line of Rashmi Sancheti from InCred Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity again. Just want to know what is the current capacity utilization at Baddi 3 plant?
Baddi 3 is around 70% utilization of capacity.
Okay. And what about the other plants for the Europe business?
Yeah, so currently still Europe, a lot of it comes from Goa, although gradually plans are to move it to Baddi and that has begun to happen. So plant 1 is running at quite a high capacity of excess of 85%. And plant 2, which is the sterile plant, is running at almost 70-75% capacity. But the 1 also does Europe and that is running at a much higher capacity. Yeah?
Ma'am, so you have guided at around 300 crores of European revenues for FY22. That includes your German tender business also?
Yeah. Everything.
Inclusive of all.
Okay. And what about your API business? This year we have done exceptionally well, but, going ahead, how should we look at it?
Yeah, so like Sandeep said in the call, the API business is also has set good targets for growth. Expect to do around 20% growth in the API business in the coming year.
20%.
Yeah, 20%. What happens is as the international business for us increases, the internal consumption goes up. So they are not able to sell enough. Right now there's a struggle on satisfying customers, both internal and external, parallelly. Yeah.
Okay. And finally, any remediation cost we had incurred in this year in FY21, or there was nothing?
Around 3 crores.
How much?
Around 3 crores.
Only 3 crores. Okay. Thanks. That's it from my side, and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kunal from Valum India Discovery Fund. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much for the opportunity and congrats for a very good quarter. My first question was on the US business. So,
Mr. Kunal, if you can speak closer to the handset, please.
Yeah, we are not able to hear.
Yeah. So my first question is on the US business. So in the opening to one of the participants, you mentioned that you had shipped 3-4 months of inventory of brinzolamide to the US. So when I remove, considering the market size which was reported, when I remove that much 3-4 months worth of revenue from the US business, what I see is that the rest of the portfolio actually has degrown on a YOY basis. So could you please throw some light? Was there any competitive pressure, or it is just I would say more of a seasonal change in terms of the US business, in terms of the mix?
Yeah, as we said, it's all a product mix driven business. It's unlike the India branded business. So we cannot equate that because 3 months inventory was shipped, that's why the others are not doing well. It's not that. The order book currently is very, very strong. As I said earlier, I can't give you numbers, but it's absolutely on a very sound footing. So the two don't correlate the way what you're trying to put it.
Can you repeat what you tried to say, because I have to completely understand what you're saying?
Yes,
are you saying that if you took out the brinzolamide sale,
then the rest of the business
you would have degrown? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because this quarter you did 33.1 crore, and the same quarter last year you did 26.8. So if from the 33, if I take out a reasonable quantity for brinzolamide,
so that's okay. Let me repeat what I said earlier. US should not be measured on a period-to-period basis. So you because there are continuous shift in the kind of products being manufactured and sold, because we take them on campaign basis. So it's better if you look at it on a broader period basis, maybe 6 months over 6 months or something like that, or annual. That makes more sense, because see, when we manufacture, we sell, we ship it to US, then the partner carries inventory there and then sells. So to make any kind of sort of conjecture based on the number of units moved or value of it is not correct. So we might have shipped something big last year at this time, which was held by our front-end partner, something like that.
And secondly, Kunal, another point is the entire 3 or 4 months inventory was not shipped in March. March was just the beginning of the shipment, and it also happened in April.
Correct, sir. Correct. This is very helpful. And the second question I had was on the India business. So, ma'am, I do appreciate that last year I think you would have you would have had a good amount of time to gain insights on how we can improve the momentum of the India business. But the 850 crore target which you have mentioned, could you give us a broader understanding of how, because as one of the earlier participants also mentioned, that even on the FY20 base, this target of growth is much higher than what we have done in probably any of the last 5 years also.
Well, I did explain earlier that we are pretty confident of getting close to it. If you looked at industry growth, which has come out for the month of April, which is a 56%, normally on the old base, even because with the base effect, industry should not have grown at more than 30%. Right?
Yeah.
So there are signs of an increased consumption. Sometimes a pandemic also, because we were always aware that on account of reach and distribution itself, one should be able to sell more in India than you did before. Possibly things are changing. We are seeing a very high consumption happening right now in the industry across almost all segments. So I feel the targets taken, we stay positive and we'll try to get them. Yeah.
So, ma'am, we are saying that the whole trajectory of the consumption across a much broader basket, and not just for Indoco, but for all, for a good portion of the entire industry, that will get rebased to some extent because of this pandemic. Is that what you're?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you very much for the answers. Thank you. And all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chirag from HDFC Fund. Please go ahead. Mr. Chirag, your line is in talk mode. Kindly go ahead with your question, please.
Sorry. Thanks for taking my question. Two questions. Firstly, did I hear correctly? You mentioned 300 crores as OCF for FY22?
Cash generated, yes.
I mean, if I look at it historically in terms of your, OCF to EBITDA generation, what you seem to be indicating is an EBITDA that should be in north of 300 crores as well.
Yeah, like Aditi said, we'll do better than 19%.
Okay, fine. And secondly, on domestic, again, did I hear correctly, 850 crores for FY22?
That's the target, yes. Excess of 800 for sure.
Okay, because that, again, I know few participants have stressed this, but this looks very, very aggressive.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, thank you so much for clarifying.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aditya Khemka from InCred Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the follow-up. Vilas, what was the milestone income in this quarter for the US business?
8 crores.
8 crores. So out of 33, 8 crores was milestone.
Yeah.
Okay. And do we still have, say, for the next 12, 24 months, do we still have enough visibility on the milestone side for the US business where we can say that, the milestones received in FY21 would not decline in FY22 or 23? I mean, how should we look at the milestones for 22 and 23?
It will be definitely maintained.
Definitely maintained. Okay. Is there a reason why it should not grow? I mean, we are launching more products and hopefully more customers should ideally pay.
So your first question was, will it decline? So we said, no, it won't decline.
Okay, that's semantics. Okay, so let me rephrase the question. How much growth can we expect on the milestone side?
See, the endeavor is to develop more and more complex products, but we definitely have visibility that it will grow. Now, by how much and all that is
Aditya, what happens is a lot of these milestones are pegged with certain regulatory sort of events.
Correct.
And so CR responses, ANDA approvals, API drug master file. So a lot of situational things are there which all need to fall in place. If everything works out, you can definitely do better also, much better. Yeah?
Yeah. Okay. Understood. And when it comes to the SRM business, the semi-regulated market business, how do you, see the future? Because we have a very small base there, and we have a decent product basket in other markets, which I don't believe is replicated in the SRM side. So I'm slightly more interested because I believe that's a high potential business where we don't have enough depth on that side. So any thoughts, Aditi ma'am, on the SRM side or Sandeep sir on the SRM side?
Yeah. We have done 91 crore or 92 crore this year, and next year we will definitely do around 115 crore.
And how would you achieve this growth? As in, how would you get there? Is it more product launches or is it better penetration of existing products? What kind of portfolio are you selling? Any color?
Both. Better penetration in the existing markets and new products to be introduced in the existing as well as new markets. This year, just like the India business, I mean, for the year completed, we had run into some problems, logistics-wise and getting material across to those countries. But now it seems to be dying down, all these issues. And medical reps also are back on their feet in Africa to visit doctors. Doctors are meeting the reps. So things are far better now. So that is
Understood.
Introduction of new products. That's what gives us confidence. I mean, it's a question of adding about 25 crore to the base. That's where
Right. Understood. Did I hear you correctly, Aditi ma'am? You said that the Microlabs Baddi 3 plant is now running at 70% capacity utilization?
Yes.
Is this like the average utilization for the past quarter, or is it at this moment in time? I'll tell you why I'm confused, because my understanding was that Baddi 3 at its peak could give us 300 to 400 crores of sales. So when you're saying it's doing 70% utilization, is it already generating like 200 to 250 crores of annualized sales?
No, like I've explained several times before, how much sale you can do from a site and its utilization do not have a direct relationship as regards contract manufacturing related product mixes, because we are continuously changing our mix to make it more earnings per unit manufactured, both on the top line as well as margin. So, currently, when we say 70% utilization, that also includes the capacity utilized for a lot of validations and filings and things like that. So, this is not entirely for commercial, and this is spread an average kind of.
This is for the quarter. Aditya, this is for the quarter, and for the year it is not much. It is around 50% or less than that.
And besides, Aditya, you are right. We can easily generate 400 to 450 crore from that plant. It's just a question of replacing the product. Like Aditi said, a higher value product, the moment you make, automatically the value of dispatches from the plant will shoot up.
Yeah. No, I get that, and I respect that. I know each product doesn't give you the same utilization and the same revenue. That's not proportionate. I get that. What I'm just trying to gauge here is, okay, so given by what you have said, we are basically selling lower value products and maybe higher volume products at this juncture from that facility. And my question is, if you can throw some more light on what is the kind of high value products that we may sell from that facility going forward, what is the pipe of that facility, in other words, and also what are the current products that we are selling? Are we manufacturing paracetamol for the tender from that facility? This is why the volume is higher and value is lower?
No. It's not only paracetamol. There are a slew of products for both domestic as well as international markets being made over there.
So domestic you're also manufacturing in Baddi 3?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. So that clarifies. I understand now. Okay, yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Gaurang from NBI. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. I just had a question on employee cost. It has degrown QOQ by 17% and also YOY 5%. So I just wanted to ask whether this is structural or was it a one-off?
There were some provisions in prior quarters of which we got the benefit. That was one part, and the second part was the actuarial valuation. So both this put together has brought down the employee cost to some extent.
But it is not structural. It is more one time for this quarter.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vipul Shah from Sumangal Investments. Please go ahead.
Hi, ma'am. Congratulations for good set of numbers. My question is regarding our CRO business. Means how are we going to scale up that business over next 3 to 5 years?
So we have a total capacity of 98 beds at CRO divided into 3 zones. So we can do studies from 16 beds to a total 98 bed if need be. And currently almost 40% capacity is being utilized by Indoco internally, either for our own projects or for customer projects for which we are doing contract research. But there are some external customers, and there is going forward certainly this business I'm expecting for it to grow by around 25% every year.
Okay. And second question relates to domestic business. You have given a guidance of 850 crores. So when I see your major brands, all of them have degrown by 15 to some have degrown by 40% YOY. So I'm missing something. So can you explain
Yeah. So our top 4 categories for India business are stomatological, anti-infectives, respiratory, and GI. And the 5th is vitamins, minerals, nutraceuticals. So if you look at this current year, 2 of those categories got really hammered. One is anti-infectives and the other is respiratory. And GI for greater part of the year was also not picking up at all, largely because of the COVID-like environment. So this 850 has been taken keeping in mind a more corrected environment, surely. So if the lockdown is imposed for much longer or COVID-like situation continues, then what happens to top line is a factor of how the COVID basket moves, of course. But looking at our top 4 categories, how badly they did, and the amount of sale, we expect that there will be a spurt this year in those categories. And I'm pretty confident, other than that, many of the other divisions, whether they are opthal, dental, gynac, cardio, diabeto, are really very small and have to ramp up in a big way. They have taken challenging targets, and of course one has to wait and see, but we are pretty confident this year domestic will be able to revive and go after it.
And ma'am, all our R&D expenditure we charge to PNL or any portion is capitalized also?
No, we had set a policy many years back. As per that, the projects post completion, and once we get the approval, they are written off in 3 years.
3 years, okay.
And what hits the PNL is about 5% of the sales.
Okay. Thank you and all the best for the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vipin Taneja, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, ma'am. Actually, you were mentioning about, actually, the CFO have mentioned that the cash from operations are going to be upwards of 300 crores. And I think Mr. Chirag of HDFC was also mentioning that, we'll be having that 19-20% EBITDA margin. That means like sales around 1,500 to 1,600 crores, including the rest of the world as well. So 1,400 crore you mentioned from 850 is from the domestic market. US is around 250 crore and Europe 300 crore coming forward. And rest of the world 100, 200 crores. So around that numbers we should be looking at, ma'am, 1,500 to 1,600 crore, around 19.
Yeah, you have not counted API yet.
Another 100 crore for API.
100 crores. So around 1,500, 1,600 crore sales this year.
Yeah, that's a good number.
Yeah, around 1,650.
1,650 and 19 to 20% EBITDA margins if we have to look for 300 crore plus cash generations.
Right.
Okay. That answers my question. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as there are no further questions, I now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thank you very much. All the participants, thank you for your active participation. Have a nice evening. Thank you.
And all stay home and stay safe.
Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Centrum Broking Limited, that concludes this conference. We thank you all for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.